Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Beth. I am a musician and this is my channel of music and pop culture. I hope you will subscribe down below. It is free and it would mean the entire world to me. I have a lot of exciting videos planned for 2025, a lot of tutorials coming up, which I know you guys liked. And if you missed my most recent tutorial, I started off the year with a tutorial to Chapel Rowan, love her. I know you guys liked my BuzzFeed quizzes video, so I have it written down to film another one of those. Today, this is the third and final video in my 3-video mini series of my top 10 faves. So I did my top 10 favorite books, my top 10 favorite movies, and since music is the best thing in the world, I am finishing it with my top 10 favorite albums. So if you guys would like to check those out, you can. And if you want to find me elsewhere on social media, everything is always in the description in my link tree. And today is the second ever YouTube video I'm filming in my brand new apartment. If you guys didn't know, or if you're new, 2024 was a massive year for me. I graduated college, I got my dream job, I moved into my own apartment. So a lot of change came in 2024, but I'm so excited to kind of start a routine now with my life because I was kind of all over the place and going through a lot of adjustments and change. All sorts of areas of my apartment that I can film YouTube videos in. Actually, when my best friend came to visit me for the first time and she saw my apartment, she goes, "Your background for YouTube videos is endless." And I love that's where her mind went, because I was like, girl, I know. I am going to make a full apartment tour video this year on my channel, so be looking forward to that. And I think I'm also going to do a video where I show my favorite pieces of decor. Now, I work in the music industry at a major label, so my opinion does matter. I kind of feel like that episode of Friends where Ross makes his list of his celebrity crushes and he's like, this is final, it's laminated. That is me. This list is final. I did not make this list willy-nilly. The albums that I have listened to the most, that bring me the most joy, that I have the most nostalgia, and that are just the most important to me in my life. So if you do not have the same music taste, that is totally okay. The thing is so subjective. Art is so personal and such an emotional experience. So if you have a favorite album, maybe I've heard it, maybe I haven't, comment it down below. I really want to know. Start from 10 and work my way down to 1. So I wanted to preface this video by going into this, if you're curious, kind of an overview of my taste. My favorite genre of music, I guess you could classify it as, I would define it as pop, rock, alternative, and I listen to music lyrically heavy. I'm a lyric listener, and it's inspired me in my own musical style. If you've heard one of my original songs, you can kind of see the sense of kind of the style I like. Yes, this is Abbey Road. I love, love, love the Beatles, as you guys know. My dad is a really big Beatles fan, and so it's kind of been a cool thing that we've kind of done a lot of cool Beatles stuff together, and they just bring me a lot of peace and happiness. And I feel like I feel stupid like describing the Beatles because they're the Beatles. I've even been to Liverpool, which is so crazy to say, and I've actually walked on Abbey Road, which is so cool, in England as well. But when you hear this track list, it just knocks me off my seat because I can't believe that all of these songs are on one album. But my favorite Beatles song actually isn't even on Abbey Road, but it's While My Guitar Gently Weeps. But I think as a collective work, this is what I listen to daily. But my favorite track on this is Gotta Be Something, but it's also because actually have not shown you guys my bedroom yet in my apartment, but my bedroom is a Beatles theme, and also like more specifically a John Lennon theme. Okay, next we have, now I'm only gonna be able to show you the back track list of this because the front that had the album cover was ripped off by probably like 9th grade me and put on my wall. This is Electric Heart by Marina and the Diamonds. If you have not heard this album, you're insane. And honestly, like, not to sound dramatic, but all of these albums are like why I am where I am today in terms of the confidence I have in myself and the fact that I work in the music industry. Like, these albums shaped that for me. Found this when I was young, high school, I guess. This track list is absolutely insane. Bubblegum Bitch, Prima Donna, Lies, Homewrecker, sorry if you can hear something, that's my dishwasher. Starring Role, State of Dreaming, Power and Control, Sex Yeah, Teen Idol, Valley of the Dolls, Hypocrites, How to Be a Heartbreaker, Radioactive, and Fear and Loathing, which is such a gorgeous, stunning, like haunting song. Every single song is the definition of perfection. Marina is my alto queen. And now you will see when you see my list, I love a lot of women singers and I love altos. Is it because I'm an alto? I don't know. And so like nostalgic for a time I didn't even have. Like a lot of introspective songs. My favorite song on this though by far is Teen Idol. I absolutely love that. That's one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. She has one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life to this day, and she has zero vocal training. She had zero music training. She just came up and was like, I'm doing this. And she just started. And I kind of respect that more. I don't know why. I like that more because to me, that's a true rock star. We have This Is Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. I almost have no words. If you are anyone of any age, listen to it. This track list is too good. I don't believe it. We first have the instrumental intro, DVD menu. Then we have Garden Song. I'll never forget the first time I played that for my mom, and she was like, wow. Kyoto, Punisher, Halloween, Chinese Satellite, Moon Song, Savior Complex, I See You, Graceland 2, and I Know the End. My favorites on this are Chinese Satellite and I Know the End. Chinese Satellite is a song heavily dealing with faith, and I also think there's touches of grief in there. There's a lot of questioning of faith in that song, a lot of that's kind of Phoebe Bridgers' thing, is kind of like existential thinking. She has one of the best voices I've ever heard, if I'm being honest. I've seen her live. I saw this tour live, which somehow I don't even believe. And I remember I saw her at the Hollywood Bowl. She was singing in her skeleton suit, singing these songs with her acoustic guitar as the stars were above her and the Hollywood sign was behind her, all lit up. And it was one of the most beautiful shows and meaningful shows I've ever been to in my life, because the aesthetics of this album are gorgeous, stunning. She's another one of the Tim Burton girlies that lives out there in the world, to the point where this artwork and this vinyl is so beautiful. I almost get like mad. I'm almost jealous that this isn't my album. The way she can tell a story, and I think that that's so apparent also in Boy Genius, which, if you didn't know, Boy Genius is her band that she has on the side of her solo projects with Lucy Dacus and Julian Baker, who stepped on my foot at the Sweat Tour, which is insane lore. I would do anything to meet Phoebe Bridgers, actually. I think I would cry. She wasn't with them, because if she was, I would have stopped them. Many of my favorite songs, I think that's a theme in my life and something I look for in music, is something that is poetry and song, looking within yourself, so like introspective songwriting, looking within relationships, obviously, but also a lot of songs about, like, this is gonna sound dramatic, but like the meaning of life, and like and almost having an element or a touch or a sprinkle in there of faith. And I find those songs the most interesting. And also, I think another thing that goes into that with me with my favorite songs is having an underlying meaning of hope, because I think that there's always this take that if you like sad girl music or a little bit of slower acoustic lyrical music, that you're like depressed or sad. I am an extremely happy, positive person. If you know me, you know that, hopefully. And I think that those songs are not sad at all. They're analyzing something, looking at something, and finding the beauty within them, and having an overlying message of hope, saying, yeah, actually, everything has a point. Like the Fault in Our Stars line, the doctor put her hand over my liver and told me my resentment's getting smaller. Who wrote that? Miss Phoebe Bridgers wrote that. Hitting you with the hard-hitting stuff, because after Punisher, I'm following that up with Melodrama. Like, Bethlyn, excuse me. This album is perfection. This album artwork is so beautiful. If you don't know me, Lorde and Harry are my favorites of all time. So I've been listening to Lorde for a long time, since like 4th or 5th grade, and Lorde, honestly, not to sound dramatic, like helped me really figure out that I wanted to do music for my whole life, and that I wanted to take music super serious, not just as a musician and a songwriter myself, but to also work in the music industry, because I thought her stories and like hers and writing like hers needs to be told and needs to be out there. And I hadn't heard anything like this when I first heard it. Now we're gonna get into her other works, and I think she has God-given talent. Her voice has God-given talent. I've never heard a female singer that I prefer over her. She's my favorite. And her writing. If I were to pick that's an insane lineup. If I were to pick a favorite, it is easy, no question, Liability. I'll never forget the first time I heard Liability. I saw her perform it on one of those late night talk shows where she had like the white outfit with the white veil. I'll insert a clip if I can, but I remember seeing that performance of Liability, and I was thinking, like, that song was made for me. She wrote that about me. I think she genuinely wrote that about me. And I think for a song to feel that personal and that serious, like that's the sign of an amazing song. I love the reprise as well, almost just as much, because I feel like it's so empowering. It's the most empowered I've ever felt pretty much listening to a song, was listening to Liability and then listening to Liability the reprise. Next we have, he was of course gonna come up at some point. You know him, you love him, Mr. Harry Edward Styles. This is Fine Line. Now, has watched my channel for a while, are subscribed to my channel. Harry and basically my whole channel is built around Harry and One Direction. So if you are someone who they have touched you and meant a lot to in your life, and you've kind of lived that with me in this channel, then you will understand. And I see you, and I know that this year was extremely hard and difficult and so sad. And I'm still grieving every day because it really feels like you lost a friend. It does. Don't want to get emotional. I say that I'm here for you and I love you, and I really do believe in the fandom of One Direction and of Harry. Like, it has given me so much in my life, and I feel really strongly about that group of people, and it's just done so much for me. This came out my senior year of high school, and that was a really hard year, obviously, with the pandemic, and he announced this in December, so kind of right before everything fell apart. And so this got me through a lot of that time. My favorite track on this album is Fine Line. I used to always say Fine Line is Harry's best song. It's Harry's best song. I mean, the musicianship in that song is absolutely insane. The build up, the lyrics, his vocals in that, I mean, like, insane. No one really listened to me when I said Fine Line is his best song. He came out recently and said Fine Line is his favorite song of his. And I was like, guys, I've been saying. Best musician of our time. Moving on. Yes, I'm sure you've seen this before. This is Thriller by Michael Jackson. This is the best-selling album of all time, so I don't think that I'm on my own with this opinion, but I absolutely love this record. My favorite song on this record is Human Nature. That is my favorite MJ song, one of my favorite songs of all time. Michael Jackson is a very important artist to me. I found Michael Jackson when I was very, very young. I'm talking very young. I'm talking like 3rd grade. My parents weren't huge fans, and so I think there's something special to me that I found him all by myself when I was kind of in my era. I'm looking at my MJ Pop right now, Funko Pop. I had a boombox. It was my mom's childhood boombox. She gave it to me when I was very, very young. Music, and I always got CDs for like gifts, and I would save up my little chore money and go buy CDs. That was my favorite thing. So someone gifted me an MJ Biggest Hits like CD, and I remember listening to it over and over and over again, and I loved it so much. It brought me a lot of happiness and peace, and I was like, how does someone dance like that? How do they sound like that? How do they just have that much talent? And yeah, it just kind of grew. There's pictures of me literally in 4th grade with Michael Jackson shirts on because I begged my parents to like buy me shirts. My number 4, this is Crybaby by Miss Melanie Martinez. Oh God, look at how beautiful this vinyl is, by the way. She's an incredible vocalist. She's one of my top favorite artists of all time. Absolutely love all her other records. I mean, I almost like could sing these songs in my sleep. I feel like I listen to them. They never get old. We have Crybaby, Dollhouse, Sippy Cup, Carousel, Alphabet Boy, I love that song, Soap, Training Wheels, Pity Party, Tag Your It, Milk and Cookies, Pacifier, Miss Potato Head, Mad Hatter, Playdate, Teddy Bear, and Cake. Insane track list. Growing up, I loved the song Sippy Cup a lot. My mom used to laugh because she used to get so sick and tired of hearing syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup. Do you even hear that? It's such a good lyric. But my favorite song on this record, if I had to pick, is Miss Potato Head. That song is very deeply meaningful to me. That song is kind of based around the idea of plastic surgery. If you've seen the video, it's really good. But you can take it outside of plastic surgery and say it's just a song about body image, and oh God, songs about body image get me emotional. Miss Potato Head like blew my mind because I was like, wow, these are such universal feelings, and these are such specific lyrics of things I've literally always wondered my whole life or thought my whole life, and someone's just flat out saying them in such an artistic way. I love Pity Party. Pity Party is my other favorite one ever, and I just saw her on the Trilogy tour, and it was absolutely amazing. It was my Eras tour because she sang all of her albums, and she's a performer. Like, she is a performer, and I was talking to people about this at work because I'm very blessed that she is actually one of the artists under my label. So I get to kind of see the behind the scenes of her, which is amazing. But I was talking to one of my coworkers. He was like, she can perform. She dances, she sings, she plays with all of the props around her. She did this really, really, really cool sequence for Portals with like a dragon on a screen, and she had a knife and it went through her heart, and oh, This is Blue Neighborhood by Troye Sivan. Now, Troye Sivan is one of my core artists. This album is almost too special for me to like say in words. Blue Neighborhood was and is still huge for me. I found this when I was pretty young as well, I would say 7th grade. And I remember this because I used to have Snapchat, I don't anymore, but I got this CD. It's still the same CD. It's kind of broken, but I got this CD at a record store in my hometown that I loved. I took a picture of it and I posted it on my Snapchat. And my cousin, who's like a sister to me, we're best friends, she swiped up and was like, oh my God, I can't believe you bought that album. I'm a huge Troye Sivan fan. And I was like, no way. I'm a huge Troye Sivan fan. And she was like, no. So now, to this day, since 7th grade, the contact in my phone for my cousin Melissa is Troye Sivan's sister. We have seen Troye Sivan together live multiple times, and I just saw him on the Sweat tour without her, and it felt so wrong. I couldn't believe I went there I got to go through work, but I was so sad she wasn't with me. I honestly think like a lot of some people learn their craft and some people have God-given talent, and I think that Troye Sivan has God-given talent. Like, his voice is so beyond. He sounds like an angel. Like, when he sings, I don't know how he's singing like that. I'm like, how do you sound like that? I've seen videos of him singing on like Australian TV when he was like 6 years old, and he can belt, and he's so smooth. This album is so nostalgic. I would say this one and these next two are my most nostalgic albums of all time. We have Wild. Again, my mom's also probably sick of hearing that song a million times too. Bite. Fools. Talk about a song, oh my God. Ease. Amazing song. The Quiet. DKLA. I can rap that whole song like nobody's business. Talk Me Down. Cool. Heaven. Youth. Lost Boy. For Him. Love that song. Suburbia. Too Good. Blue and Wild. The remix. Blue, oh my God. I want you to color me blue. This has features on it, and I usually don't love features on an album, and these features are amazing. My favorite song off this album is easily Suburbia, but I would have to say pretty much tied with that is Ease and Fools. This was what I did for fun. I still do this as well, to kind of like, sometimes we listen to music in a passing way, whether we're driving, whether we're doing something else, and we're not really taking in like every part of it. So something I would like to do at least twice a week when I was from junior high till now, I would sit in my room and say, okay, I'm gonna go to bed, I'm just gonna put my AirPods in, I'm gonna listen to an album all the way through and just like do nothing but that, like not touch my phone, put my phone across the room and just look out the window and just like really take in the album. And when I think of that, those are really positive childhood memories for me, if I'm being honest. And when I think of that, this is the album that comes to mind first. And when you're doing that, you spend a lot of that time dreaming or like thinking of the future or whatever. So I do accredit a lot of like where I am today, like to this album, because this album made me feel like anything was possible and that any hard time is easy to get out of, and it gave me a lot of hope. And I feel like that's the most positive thing an album could ever give you, you know? Second to last, Lord's Pure Heroine. I already liked Lorde. I did. I liked her back then. But what changed everything for me? I'm almost gonna cry. It was Valentine's Day, and I was in 5th grade, and my mom gave me this CD for Valentine's Day. My mom and my dad. It was in a bag. It was wrapped up. This was my gift. This CD that I still have to this day. You know, back then you had your boombox, but the only other way you were listening to music was like, I guess, did I have an iPod Touch in 5th grade? I don't know. I guess on there, and then also a big one was in the car. My mom drove me to school every day and picked me up from school every day. I was very lucky to have a mom who was able to do that. And we would listen to this album every single day. I'm honestly gonna cry. I need to cut this. Every single day, going to school and then coming home from school, this was just on repeat in her car. And I low-key think it subconsciously like really affected my life, because this music, these songs are the most important songs to me, I think, that exist, if I'm being honest, other than One Direction. And they represent my childhood and they represent me now, because I think when I was younger, I heard these songs and I turned it on, I heard Tennis Court, and I said, how can someone tell a story like that? Like, they just understood my entire existence in a 3-minute song, and it made me want to write music. This album to me was a friend. That's the only way I can describe it. So this album is Tennis Court, 400 Lux, Royals, Ribs, Buzzcut Season, Team, Glory and Gore, Still Sane, White Teeth Teens, and A World Alone. Holy cow, the most insane lineup. And let me also say this. Miss Ella, that's Lorde's real name, Miss Ella was 16 years old when she wrote and put out this record. nothing for the existence of my life, and I bring this up to my mom all the time, has made me feel worse about myself. If I had to pick, it would be Ribs and Tennis Court. I love Tennis Court. That chorus just hit me so hard. Ribs is a beautiful song about childhood and about saying, you know what? It's actually low-key scary growing up. It is low-key scary, but it's also very good. And when you have those friends that laugh until your ribs get tough, life is worth living. Life is worth living. I know people are going to comment and ask what my thoughts are on Solar Power, because that is the only one of her albums that was not in this. Listen to me straight. Listen to me. I do love Solar Power. I think it's a great record. I think it has some standout songs, such as like Dominoes, The Path, The Man with the Axe, Stoned at the Nail Salon. Love those songs. But something with her is like, with her, it's like, for me, it's usually every single one of them hits me the same and they're all perfect, no skips. So for me with Solar Power, like Oceanic Feeling and like Mood Ring are good, but they just don't hit me enough. And I also don't like to go outside a lot, so I think we differ in that. This is kind of besides the point, but Marina started writing a lot of songs about like the climate change and the earth and whatever. And I saw this hilarious meme that made me fall off my seat that was like, I will literally plant 8 trees a day to get this girl to stop singing about the earth. If you know my channel and if you've watched anything about me, you know it's going to be a One Direction record, and it is Midnight Memories by 1D. This is, again, I'm probably gonna cry. This is the original CD that I got back in the day this came out. I got this on release day, of course, you know me. Midnight Memories is my favorite One Direction album. My runner-up is Take Me Home. I love that album almost pretty much just as much. One Direction was also a heavy reason why, you know, after Liam's passing, one day, randomly, I was on LinkedIn for something and I saw a lot of posts by people in the music industry saying like, a lot of us young people who work in the industry, like there is a lot of us who work in the music industry because of what One Direction did for our lives. And it was really touching, like reading those long testimonies. The track list on this is Best Song Ever, which is one of the best songs ever. Memories, You and I, Don't Forget Where You Belong, Strong, Happily, Right Now, God, banger after banger after banger. Little Black Dress, Through the Dark, Something Great. I was singing that in the car last night. That's a great song. Little White Lies, still to this day gets me as lit. Better Than Words. If you're a Nile girl, you get it. Why Don't We Go There, Does He Know, Alive, and Half a Heart. And if I were to say my favorite track on this record, it's definitely You and I. You and I is my favorite One Direction song. If you have any new music I need to listen to, comment it down below. And if you like music, you should definitely stick around on this channel. I love you guys so much. Please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you next time.
Beauty and Brains, singing with the stars. Is it weird